What's going on, Miami boys? Sorry for it is 8:31. It's a little late. The commish, of course, as you can see in my work attire, I had to stay late for work, but being the good Co Commish that I am and backing up our commish 100%, I am bringing you this video today because it is Tuesday, it is the day after Monday, and it is the State of the League. Welcome to Week 4, Miami Boyz Dynasty State of the League with the Co Commish. As you all know the format, and of course, as you can see in the message that I posted on Sleeper today, the format will change a little bit, just adding a little stuff to spice it up a little bit, make this basically almost an hour of your time, which probably this video is going to be, worth your while. So as you know, trusty iPad here, we are going to go over Week 4 in its entirety. Then we're going to get into the next week, which is Week 5, and talk about those games a little bit. Then we will go over said topics from last week and the new ones for this week. As you know, the ones from last week, Ramon's 5 risers, 5 with the 3 Fs, fading, falling fast. Say it 3 times fast. Fading, falling fast, fading, falling fast, fading, falling fast. You can't say it 16 times fast. Anyway, all right. After that, we will go over the rooks that cook, and we changed the name of the rooks that are sorry to, in honor of Mobb Deep, we are going to call it the rooks that are shook. All right, we all know what shook means. Next up, teams and players that pissed off the fantasy gods, which is slowly becoming one of my favorites. And then the new for this week, teams that are fresh off an ass whipping. And we will talk about teams that are fresh off an ass whipping and if they will bounce back or are they in trouble. After that, we will talk about time to panic. And we will talk about real life NFL teams and also your fantasy teams, if it is time for you to panic. After that, we will talk about time to make a trade or two. We will go over the teams that I feel should do something to shake up their lineups, or if your name is not on here, that means I think you're fine. After that, we will go over You Are Who We Thought You Were in honor of the late, great Dennis Green. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on YouTube. You Are Who We Thought You Were, and followed up by the finale, Oh, How the Mighty Have Fallen. And what that is we will talk about a fantasy team that used to be on top, but now they're falling down, and they're not the juggernaut that we thought they were. All right, so there you have it, and let us go ahead and begin. I want to get right to it because it is late, and I cannot take my time on this because I have to work early tomorrow. So let's start. All right, starting off with Week 4, Dolphins versus Bengals. Not gonna spend much time on this. Whoa. Camera difficulties. Let me get rich and get me a cameraman. All right. Dolphins Bengals. Not starting off too much in this game. We all know what happened. Right tackle and right guard were obliterated. Tua was damn near killed, and Teddy Bridgewater is who we thought he is. Couldn't lead the Dolphins to a victory. Interception that shouldn't have been an interception. Even though we slowed down Jamar Chase in this, T. Higgins put on a show on Xavier Howard. Cannot wait for Byron, for the other cornerback, Byron to come back next week because we need some help. We really need some help on defense. Jalen Phillips isn't what we thought he was going to be this year. Now Tua's out for the foreseeable future, and the Miami Dolphins and Tua are the talk of Twitter, NFL, ESPN, all the shows, everything like that. Tua should retire, all this, all that. I just don't know how a team starts off so good, but it's getting so much hate. Bengals, I'm not going to congratulate them on the win. You went to the Super Bowl last year. You should have already been winning. This game should, without Tua, should have been a blowout for you. Moving on. Jets versus Steelers. Steelers felt that they had to make a change. Welcome Kenny Pickett. Jets end up winning this game 24-20 because Chase Claypool dropped 2 catchable balls and those turned into interceptions, even though Kung Fu Kenny did his best to bring the Steelers back with 2 rushing touchdowns. It'll get better. It's growing pains. It's fantasy. It's dynasty. So we got time. Good win for the Jets. Good win for the MILF Hunter and Zach Wilson. So I'm sure you're pretty happy about that, Commish. And for you, Poppy Henny, yes. Michael Carter is getting carries, but at the end of the day, it's all about Breece Hall. Like I told you in the beginning of the year, you'll continue to see it from week to week. Moving on. Vikings versus Saints. Kamara, late scratch that we didn't know about. So, Goggles, I'm sorry. You won't be penalized for that. You probably were asleep when they ruled him out. But it's like I said in the message. We have another game next week, 9:30 a.m., Giants versus Packers. Watch your hurt guys in there, because if you're asleep and you think that this guy's going to start and he doesn't start, you don't get the points. So just be mindful of that going into next week. Anyway, this game was played in London. Saints did their best with Andy Dalton, with Michael Thomas out, Alvin Kamara out, Jameis was out. Andy Dalton did his best with Chris Olave, but it wasn't enough, as I'm sure you're going to be happy about this, Poppy Henny. The reemergence of JJ. Justin Jefferson, who went into the witness protection program 2 weeks ago, is back, is JJ, and basically I have you in the make a trade or two and save your season, Disla, when we get to that statement, now that Justin Jefferson is back. Moving on. Vikings win that 28-25 off of a missed kick from the Saints kicker. Browns-Falcons. Disappointing because the Browns should have won this game. Jacoby Brissett cost the Browns this game. Amari Cooper couldn't do anything against the Falcons, which is very surprising. But the Falcons were able to pull it out 23-20. But they did lose Cordarrelle Patterson in the process. Not that I'm crying because I have Tyler Algiers. But they lost Cordarrelle Patterson. And once again, after we thought that Kyle Pitts was going to break out after last week, he went right back to his right tackle spot and blocked this game. Way to go, Arthur Smith. Way to go. But future, that doesn't, I'm sure you don't care about that because you're 4-0, my friend. So Nick Chubb is the real deal. Kareem Hunt is the real deal. I've never seen 2 backs that share the ball equally are able to be 2 viable fantasy pieces equally in splitting a backfield. Hint, hint, Dallas. I'm sure that's what you kind of wanted, but it didn't work out that way. Anyway, Chin Chin, just a couple more weeks as we await the arrival of Mr. Massage Therapist to take over the Browns offense. Moving on. Commanders versus Cowboys. I think it's not a tie, yet it's very close for the worst team. And I apologize to Seattle because I said Seattle and the Bears. Right now, it's a 3-way between the Commanders, the Bears, and the Commanders, Bears, and who else? The Commanders, the Bears, and the Broncos. I'm sorry. Yes, the Broncos. As far as worst teams in the NFL. Carson Wentz couldn't do anything after starting off the fantasy season looking like things were going to be different. Carson Wentz has come back down to reality. And the Cowboys, whether they want to say it or not, they do have a quarterback controversy. Cooper Rush is playing 10 times better than Dak. He is making CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, and other people like that relevant, which Dak could not do. So the Cowboys win 25-10. Commanders lose, and they lose Jahan Dotson in light of that. But there is help coming because we are going into Week 5. And in Week 5, Brian Robinson comes back. So, for you Antonio Gibson owners. Dak is still a while away from coming in, so you will have Cooper Rush, so your fantasy players will still be relevant for the Cowboys. Now, I can't say the same thing if Dak comes back, but hey, monitor and temper expectations. Moving on. If you would have told me that the Seahawks versus Lions would not only be the highest scoring game on Sunday, well, I would be rich, but one of the most entertaining, I would have told, well, most entertaining, quote unquote, because defense wasn't played, then this is the game for you. Seahawks win 48-45. White boy TJ comes in, shows up, shows out, saves me from being doormat of the week. Way to go. I've been waiting for this for 2 years, Hawkinson. Way to come back. Now, it took for all the receivers to be hurt, so I'm not sitting here tooting my own horn, but thank you. Jamal Williams did his thing. Rashad Penny did his thing. DK Metcalf did his thing. Geno Smith did his thing. And Jared Goff, I'm sure the Rams wish they had him back now, but Jared Goff did his thing. And the Lions, reinforcements are coming soon with Jameson Williams. But the Lions aren't your mama's Lions anymore. They fight, man. They fight. And Seattle, like I thought, they're 2-2. I thought they would be 0-4. But Seattle, I mean, kudos to Geno Smith and Rashad Penny and the people who I thought would suck. But a very, very entertaining game. Let's see if these teams can keep it up. Titans versus Colts. Titans came back to reality after getting shellacked last week and won the game 24-17. Matty Ice only throws to tight ends. Michael Pittman has become irrelevant. The offensive line, I don't know if the changes on the offensive line made them worse or they just don't want to block. I don't know. But luckily, this is Dynasty because I know a lot of people in redraft are regretting drafting Jonathan Taylor with the first pick. And even though he has him on his team, the commission also regrets the season that Jonathan Taylor is having. Not having him on his team, but he regrets the season that he's having because he's not helping him any. Jonathan Taylor gets hurt in this game. Hurts his ankle. Looks like a high ankle sprain, but it doesn't look like it's long term. He might not play Thursday because it's a short week, but at least you didn't lose him, Commish. Derrick Henry went back to being Derrick Henry, and we actually saw Bobby Trees, who the Rams wish they had back now. So kudos to Tennessee on the win. Let's move it on. Giants versus Bears, 20-12. Very peculiar, very horrible game. The Bears decided that they were going to try this game, 4 weeks in the season. They were going to try and throw the ball, and it wasn't enough. Daniel Jones tried to take away carries from Saquon and get 2 touchdowns, but hurt his ankle trying to be a running back. Then weird events happen after that. Then the backup quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, comes in the game. Daniel Jones can't return to the game because he has a high ankle sprain. Tyrod Taylor comes in, gets a concussion, which leads you with no quarterbacks and with Saquon as your quarterback. Giants did enough to get the win, but 2 things and 2 observations. Basically, teams are going to have to sign a third quarterback or keep a third quarterback on the practice squad going forward with the, let's just call it what it is, the new tour rule. With the new tour rule, I saw more people pull from games, different positions, than I had ever seen in the last 3 years. NFL's not playing around with it no more, so that this is going to open up spots for people to be on the practice squad, to sign a third quarterback, and to sign extra guys just in case you lose your guys. But that's further down the line. We're not here to talk about concussions on this channel. Moving on, Eagles, Jaguars. Eagles improved to 4-0. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are the real deal, and they are healthy. Even Miles Sanders is healthy and playing like a fantasy stud. Eagles get it done in the rain. Sloppy game. but the Eagles pull it out 29-21 over the Jags. The Jags gave a valiant effort, but they just couldn't get anything going. But the Jags did try to play their hearts out. So kudos to the Eagles. Let's see what happens next week when you go into conference play. Got your easy games out the way. Now it's time for conference play, minus, of course, the Commanders. What was supposed to be the game of the week got messed up again because of weather. Oh, my God. And it cost me a lot. For what should have been a shootout and what should have been a better game that it was a rain-soaked, back-and-forth running mess. I'm sure Poppy Henny was happy with that, with J.K. Dobbins and his 2 touchdowns, because all the teams did was really run the ball. Buffalo more so with Josh Allen, Ravens more so with J.K. Dobbins, when they should have been going to Lamar, and they would have won that game if Lamar would have ran the ball. But Bills win 23-20, which should have been, of course, I'm sure if it wasn't raining, it would have been more points than this, but Josh Allen outduels Lamar, or should I say outduels his offensive coordinator, as he choked on the goal line when they should have kicked it. With the best kicker in the NFL, they go for it on 4th down and get the ball intercepted. So hopefully they learn from that, but it is what it is. Moving on, Chargers bounce back 34-24 over the Texans with the emergence of Dameon Pierce. Lovie Smith found out, hey, I have a decent running back here that can run the ball. But it was a little bit too late, as it was Austin Eckler's coming out party. All of you fantasy owners who have stood fast with Austin Eckler, you get rewarded with 3 touchdowns as the Chargers continue to move it along. And that's scary because they've lost half their defense and half their offense. So imagine when they get Keenan Allen back. And maybe the commission will start Mike Williams then. I don't know. Who knows? Moving on. Cardinals 26, Panthers 16. Is there any... I mean, what are you doing, Matt Rule? You know, it's these coaches named Matt. You know, Matt Eberflus, Chicago. Matt Nagy, Chicago last year. Matt Rule, Panthers. Coaches named Matt are horrible. And you guys know how I feel about coaches named Matt. What a waste of Christian McCaffrey. What a waste of DJ Moore. 26-16, and what was an ugly game, and what the game was. Baker Mayfield should be benched. I don't know when Sam Darnold comes back. I don't know. I don't know. It's getting ugly in Carolina. Baker should be benched. Matt Rule should be fired. And hopefully David Tepper, with all his billions, puts his foot down and makes some changes. And go ahead and get one of those quarterbacks coming out in the draft next year. Because what you have on the roster, get rid of all 3 of those quarterbacks. PJ, Sam Darnold, Baker, cut all of them, get rid of all of them. Or keep one as the backup. But you're going to have to go in the draft and get a quarterback and start over. Kudos to the Cardinals, who looked like they were out for dead. But they've won the last couple games. Patriots-Packers. This game should have been a blowout. Shame on you. Shame on you, Green Bay. You couldn't beat a third-string quarterback. You had to take it to overtime against a third-string quarterback. And I thought the Green Bay, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I thought Green Bay's defense was supposed to be 10 times better than this. But they win by 3 points, 27-24. Strong showing from Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs. Aaron Rodgers missed a lot of throws in this game. And Bailey Zappi, the Patriots rookie, made a lot of throws in this game, which kept them in the game. And reliable Damian Harris, who nobody wanted, kept them in the game as well. And kept me from getting Doormat of the Week. All right, moving on. So kudos Packers, 27-24. See you in London on Sunday, 9:30 versus the Giants. And hopefully they have a quarterback. Next up, Broncos-Raiders. Raiders win finally, 32-23. But I say finally with an asterisk because they played the Broncos, who were just horrible. So that's not saying much. What I was surprised about in this game, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs took over like he was at Alabama. I haven't seen that in 2 years. And Like, if he's going to run like that and the Raiders offense can get going, maybe this is the start of something. But let's see. Let's hope it wasn't a 1 week wonder. Right, Future? But anyway, moving on. Chiefs Buccaneers. Chiefs win 41-31. I know the Chiefs were going to come out guns blazing after that loss to Indianapolis last week. I know they were. Tom Brady got his weapons back, but it wasn't enough. And those 31 points came in garbage time. This game was over by the second quarter. Chiefs blew them out, and Brady them couldn't recover. And I don't know if it's the divorce. I don't know if it's the lack of offensive line, but the Bucs don't look like the Bucs. And Brady really wasn't worth your marriage if you're going to play like this. You guys don't run the ball. You guys don't block. You guys don't do anything. And Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what happened to the defense, but Patrick Mahomes was able to look like Madden Patrick Mahomes on you guys. So I still believe in the GOAT. He is the GOAT for a reason. And hopefully him and his offense can get it together. But bad loss. And talking about bad losses and Super Bowl champions, yesterday's game, the 49ers versus Rams. Basically, it was a stinker with one big play from Jimmy Garoppolo to Debo that basically opened up the game. And then the Troy Polamalu twin, I'm not even going to try to say his name, but he intercepted a pass 52 yards for a touchdown. What is going on with the Rams? Super Bowl champs, but I don't have an answer for you. I really don't. Is it Van Jefferson? Is it Tutu Atwell? Is it Matty Stafford? Is it the loss of Andrew Whitworth? Is it the loss of the offensive lineman? I think they lost another offensive lineman. What is going on with Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers? You don't throw to Allen Robinson. At this point, I feel like when I watch the Rams, it's like Stafford to Cooper Cup. Stafford to Cooper Cup. Stafford to Cooper Cup. Stafford to Cooper Cup. It's like Cooper Cup tells Matt Stafford, I have to take care of my fantasy owners. And it's just, hey, I don't care if we win the game or we lose the game, but I have to take care of my fantasy owners. And Matthew Stafford just pads his stats. Allen Robinson would have done better. I hate to say this, and if I'm saying this, I'm saying it a lot. It means a lot. I think Allen Robinson would have done better staying in Chicago. Matt Stafford doesn't even look his way to throw him the ball. Like, you know how they have that saying, I can do bad all by myself? That's the island that Allen Robinson is on. I feel bad for you guys that drafted him and who have him thinking that he was going to be like, hey, the Cooper was 1A and Allen Robinson was 1B. It's just 1A. It's just Cooper Cup. It's just Cooper Cup. Just white to white. Cooper Cup, white to white. White to white. San Fran. There's Ayuk along with Deebo Samuel. Yes, Deebo Samuel is great, but Brandon Ayuk is good too. And the forgotten man, and I not only say this for you, Cheesehead, but I just say it in general because I am a fan of the guy. George Kittle, one of the most dynamic tight ends we have seen in the last couple years. He is the Allen Robinson of the 49ers because they don't even look his way. One of the most dynamic, 6'5", hell of a blocker. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't look for the guy. I don't know if there's beef. I don't know what it is, but I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Anyway, that's your look at Week 4. Now moving on to the look ahead of Week 5. In the stinker of the week, and thank God it's on Thursday, Colts versus Broncos. I can't tell you who's going to win this game. I just know it's going to be low scoring and equally as bad to watch. So, from me to you, temper expectations. Temper expectations for all players, Broncos and Colts. Commish, Jonathan Taylor was in a walking boot. Jonathan Taylor says he might play, he might not play. So make your decision on a short week. That is for Thursday. Sunday's games. First up, Bills versus Steelers. Bills versus Steelers. Not the game I wanted Kenny Pickett to play in. He's going to have a tough time against the Bills. I got the Bills in this one. Dolphins, Jets. Teddy Bridgewater has to do enough to beat the Jets. You can't lose to the Jets. You can't. We get Byron Nelson back, the other cornerback for the Dolphins. Hopefully they can do something, but I don't trust Teddy Bridgewater. So if the Jets were to win, I wouldn't be completely surprised, but the Dolphins can't lose to the Jets. Again, as a reminder, Giants versus Packers, 9:30 a.m. Sunday. Set your lineups. Packers should easily dispose of the Giants, who might not even have a quarterback. I cannot believe that both of these teams are 3-1 because they both look horrible. But both teams are 3-1. I mean, but you know, the Packers always are like this, and then they don't show up during playoff time. But Giants 3-1. Let's see what happens. Got this game as a low-scoring game as well. I don't see too much going on in here, especially London, the flight, the jet lag, all that stuff. Anyway, start them if you got them. Moving on. At 1 o'clock, Chargers Browns. Let's see what happens. This one should be a good one, I hope. But I have the Chargers pulling this one out because I don't know if Myles Garrett and that defense is still going to be banged up. And if that's the case and they are banged up, then Herbie should have no problem in this game. And he might even get Keenan Allen back in this game. Let's see. It's only been 5 weeks, right? Bears versus Vikings. I expect the Vikings to annihilate the Bears. I expect Justin Jefferson to be Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook to be Dalvin Cook. Moving on. And that's all I got to say about that. I have nothing to say about the Bears. Lions versus Patriots. I expect the Lions, not your mama's Lions, to win this game. I can't believe the Lions are 1-3. They're way better than that. I do believe, and I'm glad the Patriots are 1-3 because they do belong at 1-3 or 0-4. So I expect the Lions to pull this out and hopefully get some of their pieces back. Seahawks Saints. If the Saints are still banged up and they don't have Michael Thomas, they don't have Alvin Kamara, and they don't have Jameis Winston, they're going to lose this game to Geno Smith. As much as I talk shit about the Seahawks, they are coming around. So if the Saints, it's like that video I posted, F around and find out. If you F around, you find out. He F'd around too much and he found out. Sort of like Poppy Henny. You know, how he does week to week. He F's around and he finds out. Moving on. Falcons versus Buccaneers. Falcons look pretty good. They don't have Cordero Patterson, but the Buccaneers haven't looked that good. I expect the Buccaneers to win this game in a bounce back, but this is not your mama's Falcons. They do fight, although their coach does not use their tight end. Moving on. Titans versus Commanders. I have nothing to say about the Commanders. The Commanders are the worst team in football. The Titans should win this. Derrick Henry should run for a zillion yards in this game. It shouldn't even have to be that much passing by Ryan Tannehill. That's how bad the Commanders are on offense and defense. Texans Jaguars. I think this will be just like the Lions Seahawks. I think this will be one of the more entertaining games of Week 5. Texans 0-3 and 1 tie. Jacksonville 2-2. I expect the Jags to win, but I expect this game to be high scoring and entertaining. 49ers Panthers. I expect the 49ers to win and put up more offense than they did against the Rams, against a Panthers team that is probably this close from quitting on their coach and on their quarterback. Cowboys Rams. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have told you that the Rams would have won this game hands down. I expect the Cowboys to win this game because I think the Rams have basically quit on the season, and their main goal is to get stats for Cooper Kupp. I don't think they're interested in winning. They're playing garbage defense, and Dallas is peaking at the right time. So let's see what happens. Eagles versus Cardinals. I expect the Cardinals to put up a fight, but Eagles win this easy. Bengals Ravens, one of my games of the week, and it's the primetime game of Week 5. I expect the Ravens to bounce back, but I expect this game is the game where Jamar Chase gets back to being Jamar Chase. And you heard it here first from the Co Commish. Let's see if he can do what he did last year, or part of what he did last year when he scorched the Ravens last year. The Ravens DBs and defense is suspect, so I expect the Bengals receivers to have a field day, and I hate to say it, I expect the Bengals to win this game. And Monday, Chiefs versus Raiders should be a good one. I don't think the Raiders have enough. I think the Chiefs, it'll be a close one, but I think the Chiefs will pull it out. And there you have it. There's your Week 5 preview from the Co Commish in regards to the games for Week 5. All right, let's go ahead and get set up here for Miami Boyz Dynasty. All right, let's put that to the side. All right. You want it, you asked for it, let's do it. All right, Ramon's 5 risers. I'm going to have my 5 risers of NFL players, and what that is NFL players who I feel like are shooting up the ladder, and I'll also have some honorable mentions. So my first 5 riser is JJ. After 2 weeks on vacation, Justin Jefferson came back to reality and started kicking some butt. Went back to being the old JJ, and he torched Marshawn Lattimore en route to putting up big numbers. This combination right here, I was just going to put 1, but I put it as a combination, so it still counts as 1. But Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb. They have transformed the Cowboys, and Cooper Rush, not Dak Prescott, has made CeeDee Lamb relevant again to the point where he's catching touchdowns. And if you know anything about CeeDee Lamb, when he was playing with Dak, he was not catching touchdowns. Next up, another pairing. I have to pair them because, again, if you heard me talk in my previous segment about the Browns, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Never have I ever, and no, we're not playing the game, but never have I ever seen 2 running backs like this. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, 2 running backs on one team that are equally fantasy relevant. Kareem Hunt does his thing. Nick Chubb does their thing. They're like remember back in the day, Brandon Jacobs and what was his name? They were the original Thunder and Lightning. Brandon Jacobs and the little guy. I forgot his name, but it'll come back to me, and I'll talk about it later. But they remind me of those 2 because they're equally as relevant as those 2 were. T. Higgins. T. Higgins is third on the list. T. Higgins right now is playing better than Jamar Chase. And T. Higgins was taken a lot lower than Jamar Chase. Not talking about Miami Boyz Dynasty, but regular fantasy. T. Higgins showed up and showed out against the Dolphins' best corner, Xavier Howard, last week, putting up big numbers. And is there a changing of the guard? Is T. Higgins taking over and Jamar Chase is regressing? Hopefully not. But we'll find out next week against the Ravens. Next up, finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, Austin Eckler showed up and showed out. 3 TDs on Sunday, made fantasy owners very happy, and more than likely got you to a win. Next up, Josh Jacobs. Rinse, wash, repeat. Josh Jacobs showed up, got future to 4-0. Josh Jacobs showed up and showed out. Haven't seen that Josh Jacobs since his rookie year. It was nice to see, and it helped get the Raiders the win. Honorable mention, DJ Moore, finally, after weeks and weeks of doing nothing, Baker Mayfield finally targeted DJ Moore, and he had 6 catches for around 80-something yards. Is it a start, or was it just because the player complained? Find out next Sunday. Hollywood Brown. I remember watching the tape last year of Hollywood Brown and him consistently dropping passes from Lamar Jackson. This is 2 weeks of straight consistency for Hollywood Brown. Last week, 12 catches, over 100 yards. This week, 6 catches, 80 yards, a touchdown. So it's nice to see the consistency from Hollywood Brown, as he is an honorable mention. And just because I wanted to. Honorable mention, Jared Goff. Looking at what Matt Stafford is now, maybe that's added motivation for Jared Goff. But Jared Goff has been playing out of his mind. And kudos to Jared Goff. Keep it going. Like I said, you got the Lions. The Lions aren't a joke anymore. And you got them doing pretty good right now. Keep up the good work. All right, the 3 Fs. Fading, falling fast. This is year 5. Fading, falling fast. Jamar Chase. What happened? Justin Jefferson, first game was amazing. 2 games, he didn't do anything. Last week, showed up, showed out. Jamar Chase has been like this. You know, like the bleep on that lets you know you're still alive. It's just bleeping. You know, it just goes up and that line before you flatline. Jamar Chase is like still bleeping, but small bleeps, and you don't want it to go to that flat line. He's not doing anything. He looks like he's not invested, like he doesn't care. He's not running the routes. I don't see the hunger in him that I saw last year. So Jamar Chase, because he's not doing numbers, and Justin Jefferson is, and they were like 1A. I gotta put Jamar Chase first on the fading, falling fast list. Second off, Chase Claypool. Those 2 interceptions were perfectly thrown balls that landed in his hands. He didn't catch it and bobbled it to where it went to the other team. So not your fault, Kenny Pickett. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Kenny Pickett owner, but those 2 interceptions, and it eventually cost them the game, was Chase Claypool's fault. I think Chase Claypool is washed. I think he's done. Go ahead, take him out. Come on, pull him out like I'm going out of view, and put in George Pickens. Claypool's done. Let him go. Don't sign the 5th year. Claypool's done. I'm sure that the champ would agree with me on this. Alvin Kamara. And I'm not only going to group in Alvin Kamara, but I'm going to group in Michael Thomas, and I'm going to group in Jameis Winston. All 3 of those count as 1 in the fading, falling fast. It's good that we have 3 Fs because Alvin Kamara is the one that's fading, Jameis Winston is the one that's falling, and Michael Thomas is the one that's fast because he pulled a fast one on us. These 3 guys, Thomas was supposed to be all right, whatever, lasted 4 weeks before he got hurt. Jameis has got 3 like broken backs. You know, like what did Mike Tyson say? My back is broken. Now Jameis' back is broken. Alvin Kamara, we thought you were fine. The champ thought you were fine. And 9 o'clock in the morning, we found out you ain't playing. And even though the champ was able to win his week, I'm sure that if he would have lost his week, he'd be very pissed right now. So I don't know what's going on with the Saints, but those 3 count as 1 for number 3. Commish, hate to say this. Fading, falling fast, JT made the list. Jonathan Taylor, see earlier comments, if you remember, on what I said about the Colts. I don't know if the Colts don't like Matty Ice. I don't know if the Colts' offensive line is not what we thought they were. But Jonathan Taylor, right now, thank God this is Dynasty, right? But for the people in redraft, you've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. Jonathan Taylor has not done nothing. Now he's hurt. We don't know the extent of the injury. He is in a walking boot. He says he might play. Then he says he might not. I don't think you can deal with that right now, Commish. But Jonathan Taylor made the list. Never thought he would, but he made the list. I should have had this guy number 1, but I felt like Jamar Chase was worse because I expect more from Chase. But Carson Wentz started out the year gangbusters. Thought this was a different year for Carson Wentz. 2 games, 30-something points. Came out firing the ball. I was like, okay. You know, he's showing me a little something. No. He was trying to bamboozle us. And now you are who we thought you were, which is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. The Commanders have nothing on offense. The Commanders have nothing on defense. And after being sacked 8 times last week, Carson Wentz couldn't do anything this week against the Cowboys. And threw 2 interceptions on top of that. He's done. The Commanders are done. Daniel Snyder needs to sell the team. Ron Rivera, I hate to say it, but Ron Rivera needs to be fired. Antonio Gibson needs to be replaced by Brian Robinson. Like, let's just start over. Okay? So that's what I have to say for Carson Wentz. Honorable mentions. Now, it's only 5, but I, as Co Commish, this being my segment, I get to talk about my honorable mentions. Honorable mentions number 1. After what Future may have thought of as a breakout week, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Arthur Smith, says, no, not so fast. No. And Kyle Pitts, 1 catch, 25 yards, but spent the entire game blocking on that right side. So, Kyle Pitts, honorable mention. On the fading, falling fast. He might have hints of greatness here or there, but he's going to be on that line. He's going to be blocking. Baker Mayfield, don't even got to say anything. See my last comments about the Panthers. Baker Mayfield is honorable mention on the list. Gabe Davis, where are you? I see Stephon Diggs. I see Isaiah McKenzie. I see Dawson Knox. I see Devin Singletary. Gabe Davis. Isaiah McKenzie out for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, that'll wake up the Gabe Davis. And we'll see where it goes from there. But right now, Gabe Davis, after a great week 1 against the Rams, non-existent. Casper. And lastly, these are 2 players in the fading, falling fast. I don't want to put them on there. That's why they're on the honorable mention, because it's not their fault. And my last honorable mention for the fading, falling fast is Allen Robinson and George Kittle. Again, they're on here as honorable mentions because it's not their fault that they're not being thrown to. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the scheme, the quarterback, the padding of the stats for Debo and for Cooper Kupp. I don't know what it is, but Allen Robinson and George Kittle are too good to be on the fading, falling fast list. We still got a lot of season left. It's only week 5. I hope I can one day this season talk about them in the risers, or they have decent seasons, but right now, I hate to say this, and I know it's not going to make you owners happy, but Allen Robinson, George Kittle need to be benched until further notice. There you have it. I said it. All right, let's go into the rooks that cook. The 5 rooks that we have cooking from last week to this week. Number 1, Breece Hall. Eat that, Poppy Henny. You said that Michael Carter was the end-all, be-all, but Breece Hall wins you the game with the last touchdown of the game. Kudos to Breece Hall. And I'm not only saying that because I'm a Breece Hall owner. Tyler Algiers. Tyler Algiers comes in 10 rushes, 85 yards. Cordell Patterson, IR for the foreseeable future. Littlest 4 weeks, highest is maybe 6 weeks. The Tyler Algier show starts week 5. Alec Pierce, on a game where Michael Pittman didn't do anything and Matty Ice was throwing to nothing but the tight ends, it was nice to see that Alec Pierce was able to break out and show his versatility and get some catches. So Alec Pierce makes the list of rooks that cook. Finally, and let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand because it was weeks coming. Finally, Dameon Pierce. For you, Kane's gang, and for the other people that drafted him, and for other people that own him that are watching this video, Dameon Pierce, finally, his coach let him cook, and he broke out. Had a hell of a game. Actually, won me. Let me show you guys this. No, I can't show you guys. No, let me see if I can. Let me see it. Just to show you, let me break away real quick from my little segment. Give me 1 second. See if you guys can see this. As I talk about Dameon Pierce, I want to talk about Dameon Pierce. All right. As you can see, and for those of you, with the message I posted last night about Miami boys points, with you never being out of it, Look at this. Let me see if you can focus in on this. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. There we go. You see that? 115.6 to 97.16. That's me. I'm the NWO. I won against a guy 115 points. 115 points. And the guy that won me my week was Dameon Pierce. As you can see here, I have Tua, I have Dameon Pierce, I have Saquon Barkley. But for those of you that don't appreciate Miami Boyz scoring, I actually won a game like this. 115.6 to 97.16. Having said that, let me just break off and do a little PSA real quick. Miami Boyz points. Miami Boyz points not only got Kane's gang the win outright over Poppy Henny, even though that's what Deebo Samuel did all game, minus a rush here or there or whatever. But just so you appreciate it, you saw what I just showed you. A score of 119 to 96 is what another fantasy league that I'm in. What you guys don't see, and I'm going to get back to the list. Just give me a second. Let me do a little PSA. I think I deserve it. Especially not having taken a bath yet after work. So I think I pretty much deserve it. Let me just talk about this. And I say this in light of two things. For one, you got to be humble, man. There's things called a humble brag, and there's things called being humble, and different things like that, as we all know. And if you don't know, see the post, F around and find out. The fantasy gods are real, okay? They can humble you real quick. And no one knows that better than Rafael Doormat Disla. You did put up over 300 points, but the fantasy gods you don't realize that. But hopefully after this week that you'll realize it. The fantasy gods don't like cockiness. They don't like cockiness. They don't like arrogance. And they'll humble you, and bring you back to reality real quick. They'll humble you and bring you back to reality real quick. You finally got JJ back. Your team is scoring this exuberant amount of points. You get J.K. Dobbins back. You get a productive game out of him. You get Rashad Penny back. You get a great game out of Rashad Penny. You crown yourself. How we do it? You crown yourself stud of the week. You crown yourself stud of the week. Not only did you crown yourself stud of the week, you basically left George for dead and said that, oh, I beat Kane's gang and da-da-da-da-da, this and that. And you know what I did? I just sat back and watched. I watched, because I'm like, this is a thing with you that hopefully after this year and this year's second year being in this dynasty, you'll learn that not only the fantasy gods are real, you have to be kind of humble or whatever, and you'll realize real quick that with the points that myself and the commish created and the bonuses and what we did with this scoring system that is unrivaled in fantasy in anywhere, and I'm not going to be humble about this, but it's unrivaled anywhere in fantasy. You have people like Ronald Lafita. They try to copy. They try to do this. They try to do that. Everybody wants, like, remember what I showed you? I just won a game 119 to 96. Like, what is that? Like, I don't even look at that score until the end of the game, because I just hope and pray that somebody does something or whatever, because that commish is stubborn and he won't do anything with the points. We want you guys to be excited. I know a lot of you don't understand what myself and the commish do, but there's a method to the madness. And that's what the last league didn't understand, is why we started this league. There's a method to the madness. You can be up and you can think that you're out of it. But with Miami Boyz points and Miami Boyz bonuses, we have a motto that says that you're never out of it. And if you don't believe us, look at Kane's gang. Look at Kane's gang. I can't give a better promotion, or if you want to talk about our league, or, oh, hey, how are you guys points or whatever. Poppy Henny was sitting here on cloud 9, feet up in the air, thinking not only did he have a win, not only was JJ back, not only was he right about J.K. Dobbins, not only was he right about Rashad Penny, he thought he had it in the bag. He beat Kane's gang, and he had the stud of the week wrapped up. Deebo Samuel comes in. Not only does he win Kane's gang the game with the Miami Boyz bonuses, but he turns around and he does enough to dethrone Teddy for stud of the week. Kudos to Kane's gang for stud of the week. I haven't got to that part yet, but Miami Boyz points. That's all I gotta say. Unmatched, unrivaled. Myself and the commish, kudos to, and shouts out. I don't shout him out too much on this channel because I am the Co Commish, and he does a lot of stuff in the background that you guys don't see. But shout outs to the commish. What you guys don't see, even before we instituted this dynasty, we made sure that the points were what we wanted them to be. What you didn't see is that previously, for 4 straight off seasons, myself and George, if you don't know who John Nash is, look up John Nash, professor from Harvard, Beautiful Mind. Look up that movie. And the little mathematician memes that I post or whatever, that was me and George for 4 summers. We got some things right. We didn't get other things right. We got this right, but we didn't get defenses right. We got this right, and we needed to tweak the bonuses. And we need to do this, and we need to do that. We worked 4 plus seasons, me and him, for months upon months. I'm talking off season. Off season, like end of December, January, February, March, April. So 4 months apiece out of the year, me and him, FaceTiming, conversations back and forth to get the points where you have them now. And to get the bonuses, first downs, extra points for wide receiver, for tight end, for running back. We want you to have a fair chance of winning. You might not have the best team, you might not have the best players, but in our scoring system, as long as your player does something, you are never out of it. And Deebo Samuel showed you last night. You can think you're out of it, but then you can only win the game, but you can also be stud of the week. And that's all I got to say about that. So kudos and shouts out to the commish. Thank you for all your help and all the phone conversations, because after winning that game right there, 119-96, I am ever so more grateful. And that being a snooze fest, I couldn't even get happy about Dameon Pierce's 29. This is what put me over in that league. But 29 points for Dameon Pierce in this league off of what he did. And Miami Boyz points. That's all I got to say about that. All right, moving on. All right. So we left off at Dameon Pierce. Sorry about my little rant. Number 5, Rooks That Cook, Romeo Doubs. Even though he dropped a touchdown in the end zone off of a bomb, which probably upset a few owners, Aaron Rodgers is looking more for Romeo Doubs than he is for Christian Watson. So Romeo Doubs is on this list. He looks like he's a permanent starter, and he should only get better week after week. All right, so that are your 5 Rooks That Cook. Breece Hall, Tyler Algiers, Alec Pierce, Dameon Pierce, and Romeo Doubs. Let's see if they can keep it going into week 5, as we will revisit Rooks That Cook next week. Rooks that are shook. All right, Drake London. Drake London had been productive. 2 catches in the game against the Browns, unacceptable. It was basically a running show versus running show. So I'm going to chalk it up to a bad week, but Drake London does make the list. Treylon Burks, again, does nothing. Not only did he do nothing, now he's out for the foreseeable future with turf toe. So Treylon Burks looking like a first-round bust for the person that drafted him. Next up, Sky Moore. I drafted Sky Moore, so I'll say it. But bust. I thought Sky Moore would show out in this offense. He's nothing but a decoy in this offense. Do something, Sky Moore. There's enough balls to go around in KC and you're not doing crap. Okay? Jalen Tolbert. There is something like, okay, granted, Michael Gallup came back, CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown. Jalen Tolbert was supposed to be that guy. He was drafted in the 3rd round. You're paying him 3rd round money to be that guy. Every game, he's a healthy scratch. Somebody is lying to me. If you're going to be like that, then cut the guy. Cut the guy. Jelani Woods is a fraud. Last week, 2 touchdowns. This week it was Mo Alley Cox's turn. So Jelani Woods, 1 catch. Thought he was going to be used more in the offense, but he makes the list of rooks that are shook. And last to make the list, after 2 good weeks, Jahan Dotson did nothing and also got hurt. Will be out for the foreseeable future, but he is on one of the worst teams. So I can't really blame him or his talent, but he does make the list on rooks that are shook. Teams and players that pissed off the fantasy gods. What seems to be the talk of the NFL world, the ESPN, NFL Network, Fox Sports, the news world, everybody's a Twitter doctor now, or whatever. Teams that somehow pissed off the fantasy gods, the Miami Dolphins and Tua. Somebody messed up. Tua should retire now. Every day, it's something about Tua. Tua is the most hated man, not only in sports, but the NFL. And I don't know why. I'm so over it. I'm over it. I'm over the Tua, the concussion. The guy got a concussion. The guy has a horrible offensive line. Yes, he got slammed to the ground. He had a concussion and I was scared. Yes, he looked very, very bad. But he's not the only one that had a concussion. Like, he'll be fine. The Dolphins will be fine. Like, stop acting like the guy was near death and we put him back in the game. Jesus Christ, people. Take a chill pill. Anyway, Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos lost to the Raiders. Once again, look horrible. Melvin Gordon. This is what I understand. And you guys know if I despise a coach, I will call them out by name by now. If you watch enough of these videos, Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know what you're doing. Melvin Gordon continues to fumble. You're having offensive line troubles. I don't know what it is or whatever, but then you sacrifice Javonte Williams. And then Javonte Williams, because he's trying to run hard and he feels like he's losing his spot, ends up tearing his ACL. Out for the year. The Denver Broncos have no chance. Listen, the Denver Broncos are done. They're going to continue to make this list as long as they're playing horrible, but they're done. I don't want to talk about them no more. Russ should be on rooks that are shook or falling, fading fast. Like, but they're so horrible that I had to put them on teams and players that pissed off the fantasy guys because they were supposed to be here. Like, Russell Wilson was supposed to cook. Jerry Jeudy was supposed to cook. Like, Cortland Sutton was supposed to cook. Like, all the Denver Broncos were supposed to be, like, top 5 in everything. And they've been nothing but horrible because of their coach. And I'll just leave it at that. The Washington Commanders. Horrible organization overall. From the owner on down to the coach to everything. I think they're in line for the first pick next year, or a top 5. No, I'm sorry, a top 3 pick next year. They're horrible. No offensive line, no defense, no nothing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Commanders. The Rams. In the movie 7, now, if you haven't seen the movie 7, look it up, watch it. Amazing movie, classic. Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. I feel like the Rams are cutting off their nose. I feel like Matthew Stafford is what's the term in 7 about the oh my gosh, long day, people, long day. Where the model cut off her nose to spite her face. I feel like that's Matt Stafford. This team won the Super Bowl last year. All they do is throw the Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson, irrelevant. Tyler Higbee, somewhat relevant. But it's the Cooper Kupp show. They can't run the ball. They can't block. And the defense ain't playing the defense that I saw last year that won them the Super Bowl. So, I hate to say it, but Rams piss off the fantasy gods. Because they look like garbage. Next up, I never thought I'd have this on here, but the GOAT, Brady and the Bucks, pissed off the fantasy guys. Not only is he getting a divorce, but offensive line messed up. They can't run the ball. They got shellacked by Kansas City. I do believe in the GOAT because he's killed us for so many years, but Brady and the Bucks got to get it together. Because they damn sure pissed off the fantasy gods. A lot of people had them going to the Super Bowl this year. And last but not least, on teams that pissed off the fantasy gods, the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield is not the answer. It's time to go back to the drawing board. I'll just say this, and you heard me earlier in the video saying that Matt Rule should be fired. Baker Mayfield should be benched, but they really don't have anything or whatever. Play out the year, get a high draft pick. Hopefully Matt Corral comes back next year and can play for your team. But you're wasting years off Christian McCaffrey. You know, I don't know what you did to piss off the fantasy gods, but I know this. David Tepper didn't become a hedge fund manager and a multi-billionaire by being stupid. So hopefully David Tepper has enough common sense to get rid of everybody, fire everybody, or let your GM fire everybody and start over. All right? And there you have it. That are teams that people that pissed off the fantasy gods. All right, now we're going into the new part of the vid. Teams that are fresh off an ass whipping. Dolphins versus Jets. Dolphins got their behind whooped. They lost Tua. Let's see if they can come back versus the Jets. If not, it's not going to get any better. Lions versus Pats. Lions just came off a butt whipping, and they play the Pats. So I expect the Lions to get it back together, regroup, and beat the Pats, who probably will be on their third-string quarterback again. But excuse me. But he did surprisingly play well. So let's see. Bucks versus Falcons. Now that Tom Brady has filed for divorce, I expect him to be very pissed off. And I expect the Bucks to shellac the Falcons on Sunday. Yeah. And that's basically all I got to say about that. Commanders versus Titans. Even though the Titans won, the Commanders are coming off a loss and an ass whooping. And I expect them to get their behind whooped again by the Titans, who should run all over the Commanders. Derrick Henry should have a field day next Sunday versus the Commanders. Texans versus Jags. Both teams coming off a loss, but I think that this is going to be the most entertaining game on Sunday. So let's see what happens in that. I think it might be the highest scoring, but that's just me talking out loud. Rams versus Cowboys. Rams coming off a loss, teams that, fresh off an ass whooping. But I think the Cowboys, if you had a gun to my head, I think the Cowboys are going to beat the Rams because I really think that the Rams have quit on the season. Hey, teams coming off a loss and fresh off an ass whooping. Ravens versus Bengals. I expect the Ravens to come out highly motivated with their loss against the Bills on Sunday. Hopefully it won't be raining, but the Bengals should be prepared for a pissed off Ravens team, even though I have the Bengals and their receivers pulling this out. All right, it's time to panic. Our new segment that shows teams that in the NFL should be panicking, and also fantasy teams in the Miami Boyz Dynasty that should be panicking as well, as we're in week 5 and it's put up or shut up time. In the NFL, Rams, horrible. Panthers, horrible. Commanders, horrible. Bucks, been playing horrible. Saints, too many injuries. Patriots, too many injuries. Bears, just horrible. And Dolphins, all these injuries and not living up to expectations. It might be time to panic if you lose in week 5 for those teams. In fantasy, Commish lost Javonte Williams, lost Jonathan Taylor. Might be time to panic. Poppy Henny scored over 300 points, still lost. Might be time to panic. Goggles, Alvin Kamara. Even though you still won, lack of running backs. I don't know what's going on with your backs, but might be time to panic there. And Cheesehead, I don't know. No George Kittle, he's not being used well, or whatever. You're not where you were last year as a contender. Even though you got this win, might be time to panic. Let's see. Next up, new topic. Time to make a trade or two. Poppy Henny, it might be time to take your win and turn it into another win by trading your players, JJ, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad Penny, and get something for them before they let you down again. Just food for thought, right? Me, I'll put myself on the list. Might be time to trade for draft picks. This is what I would tell you guys. Yes, I suck. I was not doormat though, but I am in rebuilding mode. And although I thought that this year's draft would be the payoff, it is actually next year's draft. So I am looking for draft picks. So anybody who's looking to trade draft picks, I would like your draft picks. So look at my squad, see if there's anybody you want, and I am willing to take draft picks. All right, Canes gang. You are receiver heavy, my friend, and you are the stud of the week. But I don't know, man. Tannehill ain't it. You might need some quarterback help. You got receivers galore. It might be time to trade for a quarterback, or it might be time to trade for an extra running back, man. Just my thoughts, as OJ would say. Hey, man, just my thoughts. Mikey, it felt good to be stud of the week last week. Now you are doormat of the week this week. Might be time to trade for a wide receiver or a running back, my friend. Hey, like OJ says, I'm just saying. Commish, Jonathan Taylor, not doing it. Loss of Javonte Williams, not doing it. Travis Etienne, not doing it. James Robinson, had a bad game, but Aaron Jones, might be time to get off that quarterback high horse and go after another running back. You know, just my thoughts. Cheesehead, wide receiver, tight end help. You're struggling in that department. George Kittle is irrelevant, and you might need a little wide receiver help from what I saw on your roster. And the champ, Alvin Kamara, non-existent. Might need another running back. Hey, I'm just saying. Moving on. You are who we thought you were. You are who we thought you were. And I wish I could play the Denny Green. Like, I wish I could have this on a video and be edited with the Denny Green graphic. You are who you thought we were. Mikey Xbox. Stud of the week, back down to doormat of the week. So, welcome back down to the bottom with me. It was kind of lonely down here without you. Welcome back. Poppy Henny. Welcome back down here with me and Mikey. You thought you not only had stud of the week locked up, but you thought you had a win against Canes gang locked up. And the fantasy gods once again brought you back down from here, from your high horse, to here. You know, welcome back to the bottom with us. Chin Chin. You started out 3-0, whatever. That was good enough for the fantasy gods, and they put you in a close one. and they brought you back down to a mid. You're a mid. You're a mid, and they brought you back down to a mid. Future. I have you on this list on You Are Who We Thought We Were for 2 reasons. You're 4-0. I'll give you that. Kudos. Matter of fact, clap it up. You're 4-0, but that's with 74 or 76 from Josh Jacobs, nothing from Kyle Pitts. You're getting peppered a little bit with a little luck. I'm not gonna say that you got a horseshoe up your ass, but I mean, there's some games that you shouldn't have won, and we'll talk about that when we look at the points. But kudos to you being 4-0, man. But it's a little bit of luck in there involved, and that's what fantasy is. So kudos to you. You are who you thought we were, but you are 4-0. I'll give you that, my friend. Kane's gang. You are who you thought we were. I was worried about you there for a little bit, but you are the contender that I thought you were, and you found a way to bounce back, and you found a way to get it done. You might need a running back or two, or you might need some quarterback help, but because you got a shitload of wide receivers, but you are who the contender I thought you were. Champ, you were down and out for a little bit, but you found a way to win this week without Alvin Kamara, so you are the champion that I thought you were, and your resiliency allowed you to win. But will it continue? We'll have to see about that. Cheesehead, you are the contender that I thought you were. You were able to pull it out without anything from George Kittle, and it just shows the resiliency and how good your team is. So you are who I thought you were, at least for this week. We'll see how it goes on for the rest of the season. And lastly, in our last segment of the fantasy week 4 is Oh How the Mighty Have Fallen. And the first one, I never thought I'd say this, but the first one in the Oh How the Mighty Have Fallen is the commish, George. George was in line for the points lead and also a contender from the new Miami Boyz bonuses for best record. But George had a hell of a Sunday. Lost JT, lost Javonte Williams, Najee Harris underperforming. Jordan Love, why is he on your team? Miles Gaskin, why is he on your team? Travis Etienne, bust. Chase Claypool, 0. Mike Williams, bench with 38 points. You are your own worst enemy. I don't know if it's overwhelming dealing with NFTs and fantasy. I don't know if it's overwhelming being the commish of this league, but your team is not doing what you thought they were doing in the first couple of weeks. And my friend, you are going to have to make some changes now to quote unquote save your season. Because right now, after taking a loss to Jada Huncho, and Jada Huncho being 4-0 and you being 2-2 after making the finals last year, that's not a good look for you at 2-2, Commish. The mighty have fallen. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. All right, let us start and let's finish up this video with we're going to go into the matchups for week 4. We're going to preview week 5 and go through the weekly report. Starting with my matchup versus Teddy. Teddy wins 311.86 to 186.17. Tua, concussion, 3.24 points. Patty Mahomes, 35.54. I didn't have a chance. Damian Harris, reliable, that you guys wrote off, 26.60. You had James Conner with 21.80. Breece Hall with 27.70. Lenny Fournette with 25.80. Jerry Jeudy with 17.80 on a horrible team. Stephon Diggs with 13.70 in the rain. Greg Dortch back to reality, 2.60. Garrett Wilson back to reality, 7.60. White boy TJ, 60.40. Hell of a day from the tight end. Gerald Everett, modest 23.10. Elijah Moore, 11.50. But then Jameson Williams, Jamal Williams, the Lions running back, had 62.60, which blew me out. Drake London, five rookies that are shook, 5.20. Cam Akers, 5.80, no better. Jarvis Landry, 5.70. Miles Sanders, welcome, 60.50. Jacoby Brissett, 25.43. Tom Brady, in a losing effort, 55.42. So I got destroyed. The champ versus Jada Honcho, future. Justin Herbert for the champ, 49.81. Joe Burrow, 46.5. Jonathan Taylor, 18.50 before he got hurt. Dalvin Cook, 27.50 while playing hurt. Najee Harris, 17.40, underachieving. Cordero Patterson, 14.80 before getting hurt. Future. Tyreek Hill, 44.40. Jalen Waddle, 7.90. Future. A.J. Brown, 19 points. Rashad Bateman, 670 before getting hurt. Future. Pat Freiermuth, 25.50. Dallas Goedert, 18.20. Javonte Williams, rest in peace. 10.40 before being done for the year. Josh Jacobs, 74 points. Aaron Jones, 37.10. Kareem Hunt, 17.20. James Robinson, 6.40. Amari Cooper, 2.90. Future. Trevor Lawrence, 5.73. Kirk Cousins, 25.90. Good win, future. Moving on. Chino versus the champ. Josh Allen, 38.22. Jalen Hurts, 23.98. Christian McCaffrey, 40.60. Alvin Kamara, early scratch. Joe Mixon, 37.70. Ezekiel Elliott, 22 points. Devontae Smith, 6.70. Told you wasn't going to continue. Jamar Chase, 15.60. See what I said about Jamar Chase earlier. Devontae Adams, way to bounce back, 32.50. Curtis Samuel, 11.30. See what I said about the Commanders. Tyler Conklin, 12.70. Not enough balls to go around. Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, 36.70. Dalton Schultz, not going to play, 0 points. That cost you chin-chin. Mark Evans, welcome back Mike Evans, 42.30. David Njoku, 15.70. Christian Kirk, 14.80 in the rain. Zach Ertz, 23.20. Tyler Lockett, 16.60. Matty Ice, 39.71. Wow, I didn't know he had that. Aaron Rodgers, 23.78. Way to pull out the close victory, champ. But that's what champions do, right? Poppy Henny versus Kane's gang. Cooper Rush, 29.30. Kyler Murray, 34.64. J.K. Dobbins, welcome back, 34.10. But Austin Eckler, 3 touchdowns, 48.60. Michael Carter, Kaka, 10.80. Nicholas Chubb. When a guy has points like this, you call him by his full name. Nicholas Chubb, 43.60. Justin Jefferson, 49 points. Welcome back. CeeDee Lamb, 26.20. It's better than he would have done with Dak. Deontay Johnson, 6.70. Thank you to Mitchell Trubisky for that. Debo Samuel, 52.70. See my rant about Miami Boys points. Darren Waller, 8.90. Odd man out. Mark Andrews, he'll never have 6 points again. Rashad Penny will never have 59.40 points again. Damian Pierce, 64.60. Maybe his coach will consistently use him now. Oh, wow, Papi, I didn't know you had Reynolds. Josh Reynolds. Papi Henny, wow, 26.60. Michael Pittman, odd man out, tight end city in Indianapolis. Geno Smith, 58.59. I'm not going to sit here and shoot myself in the foot and say he won't do that again. But Ryan Tannehill, 20.676. Way to come back, way to win, and you are the stud of the week, Canes gang. I have sent you your $50. And last but not least, Mikey versus Cheesehead. Mikey loses to Cheesehead 231.72 to 186.01. Mikey is your doormat of the week by 0.16 of a point. Rather you than me, Mikey. I love you. Lamar Jackson, 21.60. Should have been more. Russell Wilson, I can't believe he had 35.36. But Miami boys points. Khalil Herbert, 25.80. Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry with 51.80. Saquon Barkley was Saquon Barkley with 51.10. A.J. Dillon, 20.10. Terry McLaurin, see what I said about the Commanders, 5 points. Cooper Kupp, padding the stats. 14 receptions, 122 yards. 43.70. Juju Smith-Schuster, why? 13.60. Chris Olave starting to rise up, 20.20. Will Dissly, all he does is catch touchdowns, 17.90. George Kittle, see what I said about 49ers, 6.90. Devontae Parker, 11.40. Josh Palmer is basically like throwing gum at the wall, saying if it sticks, sir. That is 4.50 for you doing that. Lucky it wasn't a 0. Nyheim Hines, 4.20. Romeo Doubs, 16.20. But it should have been more than that if he wouldn't have dropped the touchdown bomb. Tyler Boyd, 13.88. Seems about right. Ramondre Stevenson's 25.70. Derek Carr, 21.53. And wow, Matty Stafford. Cut the nose despite the face. 7.26. Canes gang is your stud of the week. Mikey is your doormat of the week. Thank you, Mikey, for paying your $25 on time. We now go to the weekly report, and then we'll look at week 5. Players of the week, Geno for Poppy Henny, 58.59 is quarterback of the week. Josh Jacobs for Future is 74 points, is running back of the week. Debo, 52.70 is wide receiver of the week. Fitting, 52.70. TJ Hawkinson for yours truly is tight end of the week with 60.40. Again, 331. Canes gang is your start of the week. 186.01. Mikey is doormat of the week. Bench warmers of the week. Teddy with Jared Goff with 62.28 on the bench. Cheesehead with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who has better stats than Jonathan Taylor, was on your bench with 34.60. T. Higgins for Canes gang was on his bench with 54.40 when he has better stats than Jamar Chase. And yours truly with 33.50 for Mo Alley Cox, but I'm not going to start 2 tight ends, so I'll take that. Most efficient manager was Poppy Henny. 302.59 out of 315.39 means that you set the perfect lineup. Least efficient manager was myself with 186.17 when I had a max of 276.60 on the bench. Highest points in loss, 302.59 by Poppy Henny. Lowest points in win was the champ with 228, barely beating Chino. Teddy, biggest blowout, 311 to 186. He destroyed me. He pulled my draws to the side and just basically took it. Underachiever all day, cuz you got the underachiever badge because you got 234.24 out of projected 307. So there you have it. Now, before I get into the matchups for week 5, I will go over best record and points for. Best record right now, Future at 4-0. Future at 4-0. Next up behind Future is Kane's Gang with the best record at 3-1. Now we get into most points. Most points right now is Kane's Gang with 1,124.05. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, excuse me. I stand corrected. Why doesn't this thing fix itself? Anywho, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. It is George with 1,162.78. So although Commish is losing, he still leads in points. Second in points is Kane's Gang with 1,124.05. He is second in points. Next up in points is Chin Chin. Chin Chin is third in points with 1,061.88 in points. After Chin Chin, it is Teddy. Teddy has 1,020.39. 1,020.39. And Teddy is in fourth place. In fifth place is Mikey Xbox with 1,014.33. He is in fifth place in most points for. So there you have it. Week 5 matchups, and we are done, my friends. Next up, I play the champ in week 5. Let's see if I can get my first win. The Commish plays Cheesehead. Chino versus Mikey Xbox. We're going to call that the PlayStation versus Xbox Bowl. Chino, let's see if he can bounce back. And let's see if Mikey can bounce back. That is your game of the week. Poppy Henny versus Miami Vultures. Teddy versus Poppy Henny. Let's see if Teddy can keep his quiet, mild-mannered, winning ways going. Let's see if Raphael can try to be quiet and try to just not piss off the fantasy gods and win a game. And lastly, my co-game of the week, you have Kane's Gang at 3-1 versus Honcho versus Future at 4-0. This is my co-game of the week. No, you know what? Let's make this the game of the week. This is the game of the week. Kane's Gang versus Future is the game of the week. Chino versus Mikey Xbox is co-game of the week. This is a lot at stake here. There's points at stake. There's records at stake. Future's trying to go 5-0. Kane's Gang is trying to dethrone him and be the best 4-1 as Kane's Gang leads in points. So at the end of this Sunday, if Kane's Gang can win and score enough points, he might be first in record and first in points. It's a lot at stake here, gentlemen, with the bonuses for the best record and most points. So there's a lot more to play for. Let's see what happens in week 5. This has been your commish. Whew. Sorry for the long video, but it had to be done. Have a good night. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Commish out.